Hello, I'm Daniel Sketchley.
And I'm Callum Byrne.
We've been friends for more than 10 years, sharing lifelong passions such as film and music,
But most importantly, football, through the ups and the downs.
the celebration and the heartbreak.
However, he's a blue nose.
And he's a villain.
This is the Second City podcast.
Hello, Bern.
Good evening, Dan. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It's
Lovely.
absolutely chucking it down here, and I did get soaked coming back in from the
Yeah,
car.
it's we're going into October to March, are like my Christmas aside, are like my grim months. I'm definitely
Yeah,
April to September, definitely the better 6 months of the year.
yeah. When the sun's out, sunglasses, beer garden.
Hell yeah.
That's the life, really,
Not
isn't it?
every other year, a World Cup or a Euros, take it all
Yeah.
day long. Um, Yeah, but we've had a very interesting week, footballing wise.
Mm.
Some would say you've had a better week than me, would argue.
I'd say it's been an up and down week.
But yeah, both
It's
ends of the spectrum, yeah.
yeah. We really went from one end to the other, but
Should we go
we'll come to that
chronologically then?
later.
You've actually had
Well,
two
we need
games
to do
this
the
week.
shirts first, Dan, of
Oh yeah,
course.
sorry. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. My bad. I'm getting ahead of myself.
But yeah, so we'll do the shirts, and then coming up later on in the podcast, we'll go through the games that happened during the week, and then we'll preview the three games. I think it's only three games
Yeah, so it's a bit weird. So you've had
next
two
game week.
games. Blues have had one. So yeah, it's a bit lopsided, but yeah. So yeah, this first segment we always start with is called "What We're Wearing." So obviously I'm a Blues fan, so I'll wear one of the many. Well, I've got many blue shirts, and I'll pick one out and have a reflect on my memories from when that kit is from and so on, and what I think of the kit itself. And then obviously Callum's a Villa fan, so he does the exact same. But with it's a wide array of Villa kits.
Yeah,
So yeah, should we get into it?
yeah. Shall we? You go first this week, Dan. I feel like I go
Yeah,
first a lot of the
definitely.
time.
It's
Oh,
definitely
it's
older.
it's a it's an F&C one. I think this
Yes.
is a
Oh,
championship kit just by the kit maker. I couldn't even
okay.
tell you that brand actually. X
Yeah.
Factor. Um,
So it's a
let's,
white for anyone listening on the audio. Yeah, it's a white F&C Investments
let,
kit with a
let's
blue
see.
collar.
So you won the League Cup in 10-11. So I reckon it's 9-10 away.
You are wrong. So
Oh.
you're very close though. So this is 10-11 away. So this is the year we won the
Oh,
cup.
oh, it is that one?
So
Oh,
yeah. Also, we were in the Premier League as well in 9-10 anyway.
oh, of
But
course, yeah.
so yeah, this is a white F&C Investments away kit. X-Tep are the kit maker, who I have never known another English club to have X-Tep as their kit manufacturer.
No.
We had them this season and we had them the following season. I'm pretty sure they're Chinese, and obviously we've just been bought by a Chinese consortium. But apparently, I haven't seen this for myself. They literally, I heard they'd gone bust or something. But apparently, they're doing some of the Saudi Arabian kits now. Obviously, their league's really kind of been in the news a lot and stuff. So apparently, they're doing some kits over there. Um, Otherwise,
It won't be long until Nike and Adidas and all them are doing
oh
all
yeah,
those kits anyway.
100%.
So,
Um, but yeah, this kit. So I genuinely wonder, did I just wear really large clothes when I was a child? So this kit I got in, I wore this shirt to Wembley for the League Cup final,
oh my God.
and it still just about fits me now. This was half my life ago, and it somehow, um,
Well, the kits back then, or at least I found this when I've been buying older kits. The kits used to be so baggy, and now they're very much like a slim fit, tight fitting, and so I can size down almost, or like a medium for like the kits from the early noughties are like just a bigger than a large on me, and so
yeah, I much preferred it when kits were like that personally, the sort of baggier look. Um, this kit though is a weird one. So yeah, I bought this just before the League Cup final because I wanted one from that season to wear to Wembley,
yeah,
and I had the home kit was quite similar. Obviously, it was the kind of V pattern one, um, and like in hindsight, has become a really famous kit because it was the one we won the League Cup in. So it's one. There's another one of them like football shirt shops opening up in Link Street in town soon. So I'll pop in and like if they've got it, I might keep an
yeah,
eye out for it. But at the time, this one was like the definite one to get because the home one was quite similar to the one from the year before.
yeah.
Um, and obviously the season itself, obviously we talk about two ends of the scale. Obviously we had our greatest success ever, but then we obviously got relegated in the May. So we could do a whole other podcast on that. It's arguably our greatest and our worst season in one. The
And of
kit
course,
though,
we touched on it in our special podcast on Alex McLeish, which you can check out on audio platforms and YouTube.
yes, check it out. We're getting pretty into it. This kit though is I do like the shirt for one, although it's kind of we have had a
It
lot of
looks very
similar shirts to it
clean.
over the years. Yeah, it's clean. It's not massively dissimilar to, I'll wear it on a podcast soon, I'm sure. The one we had under Red Nut, the 17-18 one with 888 Sport as the sponsor.
I'll probably recognize it when I see it.
Yeah, it's almost the exact same. But this is one of them kits we barely wore. Do you know, like away kits that you barely wear? We had a red third away kit this year.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, and this was one we wore it probably at like Everton and Chelsea, and I'm not sure we wore it at anyone else. So yeah, we had a couple of years of away kits where we didn't really wear it much. But yeah, I like it. And I wore it to Wembley, so it'll always have it'll always be significant for that reason.
That's one to never get rid of.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You are wearing a goalkeeper kit.
I am wearing a goalkeeper kit, yeah.
Macron.
Long sleeve.
It's
Look at these hexagons down the sleeve, Dan.
Yeah, interesting. I'm trying to see what keepers am I visualizing wearing that. I'm thinking Brad Guzan.
Yeah, I definitely remember Guzan in this shirt.
I'm gonna say 2015 goalkeeper kit. Even though that was your worst season ever.
No, it wasn't that year. I don't have a kit from that season actually. I refused. I really liked the away one, but I refused to buy it. No, this is the 12-13 home goalkeeper kit, so the green one. There was also a horrible orange and a really nice black one. But so back in the day when I used to play Sunday League football, I was a goalkeeper, so I have a good handful of goalkeeper shirts dotted around. This is one of the few that still fits me. Because as we were saying, the kits back then were just really baggy. So this one has my name on the back of it. That's how old it is. It has
Let's see.
It has. So that's how old it is. The old felt numbers and everything on the back. So yeah, so I got a whole array of goalkeeper kits, but the actual season is not one to shout about in the slightest. Probably
Who was your man? Paul Lambert, your manager?
First season of Paul Lambert. And there's a very famous result at Villa Park, which this kit was probably worn in, that we don't look back on, which is, of course, the Bradford League Cup semi-finals.
Yeah.
So
best result of our season. I remember it was best result of our season, that one. You get knocked out. Because I remember I was really nervous you were going to win it like relatively soon after, like a couple of years after we did it.
Yeah.
Like I was nervous when you got to the final in 2020, let alone like a couple of years later.
Yeah, no. Oh God, those games were dreadful. I hate looking back on those days. Those were dark days, really. And they were only going to get worse from that point for a time.
Yeah, I know Paul Lambert is not your favorite of the Villa.
It was just an era of shit manager after shit manager, wasn't it? Like,
yeah,
McLeish, Lambert. I didn't mind Sherwood.
Yeah, he's kind of nothing he could really do about it. Really, was Sherwood.
No, Remy Gard, Di Matteo. That's some run of managers.
That's pretty rough. But so what keepers wore that kit then? Was it Guzan mainly wore
Guzan and Shay Given would have been the two goalkeepers that wore it. But yeah, I always, when I was a goalkeeper, I always used to love play. There's a couple of colours that you just love playing in. Like I hear Emi Martinez these days has colours that he likes and what have you. So green was one that I always loved wearing as a goalkeeper. Black was another one. I remember I had a couple of kits which were like bright yellow, and I didn't really like them because they're just a bit too loud.
Enkelman in his bright yellow, of course, very famous.
The bronze one.
Very nice. I have never bought a goalkeeper kit. I never was a goalkeeper, but I don't know. It just never occurred to me to buy one. But I do really like our yellow goalkeeper kit this year. It could be like just a Blues away kit, a classic Blues away kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe that'll be the one. I will probably get one from this season eventually, and maybe that one if I can get my hands on one.
Yeah.
But no, very nice. Shall we get into the results then?
Yeah, shall we just quickly do the League Cup? Because
yeah,
one, to get it out of the way, and two, it was almost a week ago. And I even wrote some notes in our little run plan, Dan, like the day after the result, where the emotions were probably still running a bit high. So we'll work our way through them. I think I said it around when we lost to Legia Warsaw the other week. Disjointed teams lead to disjointed performances. And there was another like stark reminder of there's a reason that's a saying. I understand why we made lots of changes. I expected a lot of changes for this game. We have got some key injuries and we do need to rotate. Like, for example, Luca Dean, with Alex Moreno injured, Luca Dean cannot play every single game. Like, otherwise, we are going to run him into the ground and he will get injured as well. Obviously, we don't actually have another left back because if we don't play Luca Dean and Alex Moreno's injured, Seb Raven's out on loan at Rotherham or somewhere. So we trialled John McGinn at left back. Didn't go well, but it wasn't a disaster, but it didn't go well.
Square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, like he wasn't terrible there. I mean, like I've seen much worse performances from actual left backs.
Yeah, actual left backs. Same,
than John McGinn, like doing a job at left back. I think maybe we would have been better off maybe switching to like a back three or something. There was no signs of Callum Chambers or Clement Longley, so they're either both injured or that they upset Unai Emery so much in Warsaw that they've just like we're never going to see them ever again.
Yeah.
But there was just a lot of bad performances across the board. I mean, the three musketeers of Robin Olsen, Leander Dendoncker, and Yuri Tielemans were like the pick of the bad performances. Robin Olsen, I expected a bad performance, and we got a bad performance. So that is what you see is what you get there. He just
is there
cannot...
a bigger? Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, no. Is there a bigger difference in two players than?
Yeah, like from your first choice keeper to your second. Is there any club in the Premier League that has a bigger gulf between their first choice and their second choice keepers than Villa?
I doubt it. You see a handful of clubs like rotate their goalkeepers. You see it with Brentford and Arsenal at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be too like Robin Olsen just doesn't fit our system. He can't play out from the back. He can't use his feet. His distribution is atrocious, which is a key part of how we want to play. But I could live with that as a sub goalkeeper if he was a good shot stopper, which he's not. So, yeah, but we all know that's a position that really needs upgrading, and hopefully we'll do that in January. Leander Dendoncker didn't have a good game either, but then he's not played. He had no preseason. These are the first meaningful minutes he's had all season. So, you know, he's a utility player that's nothing special, but he needs minutes, and he's obviously going to look a bit rusty. Yuri Tielemans had a shocker, and he really hasn't started well, Dan.
You're not a huge fan, are you?
I'm yet to be convinced. I'll be honest. I was really excited with the signing, and I thought he'd really come in and fit our system quite well. He doesn't really look fit enough at the moment.
It seemed like a good move for everyone, so it's kind of surprising that it's not really like for him. It's like to leave a relegated club and get to go to a club that's clearly on an upwards trajectory, but it's not quite working out as of yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't like. I wonder if it's as well, like, obviously he was linked with some big moves like in the last few years and just had a really, really bad season with Leicester. So if anything, we've offered a lifeline as a good club to move to. It's not going to be that mega Man United move that he maybe had his eye on. But like to have the gall to come out in like the media during the international break and be like, I'm not happy that I'm not playing, and then put that performance in. It was something, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I think, to be honest, I was just really disappointed that we got knocked out the League Cup. Not like you, massive fan of the League Cup. Like,
yeah.
And I look at the draw and the teams that have been knocked out of it. It's like, what an opportunity that would have been.
We should do, we kind of touched on this, but we should do a full podcast eventually on why the League Cup is so good and why we need to keep it. Because obviously there's a few, I think the UK, England is, or the UK are the only countries that still have a League Cup pretty much. But yeah, it's opened up so much this year. Like Man City are out, Yeah, Man City are out, aren't they?
Yeah.
And Newcastle and Man United have got each other in the next round. Like, so one of them's going to
Arsenal,
get
West
knocked out.
Ham.
Arsenal, West Ham, like it's
You,
so a club like Villa, it's prime for a team
yeah.
just below like the sort of traditional top six or whatever to go and win it.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of things that just it just all brewed up into the perfect storm of it being a disastrous night for us. We mentioned very briefly last week about the ticket prices were really expensive, and so the ground was basically empty. It's our lowest gate since we got promoted. We think
Wow.
I'm not sure on the official figures, but it wasn't far off. Just I think it was below the 30,000 mark. And you have to bear in mind, Everton sold out the entire north stand,
Mm.
so. So obviously there was no atmosphere. Stream I watched it on, it just sounded like an Everton game. Like Labour, it's an away day, a big following. You're going to be loud, and so obviously the atmosphere was poor. The football was poor.
And as it's been proven since as well, Everton are shit.
Yes,
and you lost.
yeah.
um,
Oh, I mean, they tried their best to throw it away at the end, but yeah, bad all round really. But I
one to
disappoint.
forget.
Yeah, I mean, it'll kind of work out for us. It's one less competition to be in. It's just a couple of less midweek games. Not that there's many of them, but yeah, it's just a missed opportunity. And it's like the times we've taken the League Cup seriously, we've always gone deep into it.
Mm.
And the times that like, okay, last year we had Man United, but we didn't go full strength at Old Trafford last year. We still played like Robin Olsen and Augustinson and and Callum Chambers. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe the FA Cup's our year. That's the one I really want to see us win because we haven't won that competition since 1957. So
We've never won it,
yeah,
and I've never even seen us get to. We got to it's something I don't appreciate now. And again, maybe we could do like a podcast fully about like the cups and what we
yeah,
think like the two domestic cups. But like the year we were this kid, the year we got to the League Cup, we won the League Cup that year and the year before, and maybe another year around there, we got to the quarter final both years. I was like, man, I didn't appreciate that. Like so we were a game away from Wembley again twice. Probably should have. I mean, I think we got knocked out by Bolton uh, this season, and this is 2011. And we haven't even come close since. Like getting knocked out third round every year, more or less. But
yeah.
yeah,
Like
maybe it's
I
for you
guess for
this
you
year.
guys though, like with the League Cup, it's a bit different because you've got to play all the early rounds in the League Cup as well as
True,
we don't. Yeah, but the
that's
FA
true.
Cup's obviously a big opportunity
Mm.
because there's so many teams in the third round. Um, but yeah, we move on. It's not our
We
year
go
this
again.
year, but maybe next year.
Words to live by. Cool. Where do you want to go next then? Because obviously you played again before we played at the weekend. Unless you want to go to Blues and then go back to Villa.
I'd quite like to hear about your field trip to Norfolk, Dan.
Yeah.
I want the
So
field guide of Norwich.
yeah, so I went on my first away day of the season at the weekend to Norwich. It was kind of unanimously agreed on the way back that Norwich is blacklisted now. But no, it was
Ipswich is better.
Ipswich is better. Yeah, always said it. Better colours and everything. No, it was like away days. You kind of can't let the game ruin it. I know it sounds bad,
Yeah.
but you kind of can't. It's always you kind of go for the laugh and and the trip and stuff. But
But sometimes the
yeah,
games really do try their best to ruin the
yeah,
away
they do it.
day.
They do everything they can. Yeah. Never been to Carrow Road before, but nice little stadium. And they just completely outplayed us from start to end. And you know what's annoying as well is that I'd like we'll get onto your game later on Saturday, but like I checked my phone in the car and it was one score line. Then we got to Norwich, checked it again, it was another score line. We're in the pub, it's another score line. Get into the ground, the score's changed again. And
Yeah.
this news is coming through, and I'm like, okay. And then we go and are like pretty pathetic against Norwich. And Norwich had lost 5-2 to I think it's 5-2 or 6-2 maybe even.
6-2, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, to Plymouth the week before, and had played midweek as well in the League Cup. And we hadn't, so we had. I'm sure they made changes, but they still played in midweek. And then they just looked in every way like fitter than us, stronger than us, faster. And the first half was like fairly even. kind of not many great chances on either side. Norwich had a decent chance from a corner and they got ahead to it. Probably should have done better, but there really wasn't much to report. We otherwise had a good chance. I think it was Jay Stansfield put a really great ball in across the box, and somehow both Hogan. We were kind of perfectly in line with it as well.
Yeah.
Somehow both Hogan and Burke didn't get on the end of it, and I'm not sure how. It was a great cross, but yeah, the first half's fairly uneventful, and then in the second half, fairly early on, Norwich score from like a free header.
Yeah, Sunjic
Kind of
goes to sleep, doesn't he? Marking his
yeah,
man.
Sunjic completely goes to sleep, and Gomez Sara gets on the end of it, gets his head on it, and heads it home. And it's really annoying because this came right after Jay Stansfield, who did have a decent game. I do like him a lot. He had a decent chance just before this when he's been threaded through and he's 1-on-1, and he's tried to curl it around the keeper in the box. And to be fair, the defenders got in and got just about slid in and got a touch on it, and it's kind of diverted the ball back into the keeper, like sort of the savable reach for the keeper. From where we were, it looked like he'd just kind of blown the 1-on-1. Really, he didn't realise it was actually a brilliant intervention by the defender. But then that's when Norwich go at the other end and score straight away. So that's really frustrating. The Blues make a double sub. We bring on Juninho Bacuna and Siriki Dembele, and literally minutes after, like seconds after they came on, Bacuna gets the ball, plays a bad pass to Dembele, doesn't quite get there, or it's easily intercepted, and Jonathan Rowe basically ends up getting the ball. He had a great game. He was really good. Gets the ball, drives into the box, sticks it past Ruddy, who, what we were saying, probably could have done better with it as well. Like at his near post. And from there, the game was kind of dead. There was half an hour of the game to go, 2 quick fire goals. It's kind of it's almost game over.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple of decent chances after that. Like Miyoshi had a really good chance. Not a good chance, but he made a lot of it from distance. He kind of looked like the underside of the crossbar from where I was, and it's not gone in, so that was unlucky. And then Jordan James has a header right at the end, and I don't know how he's missed it. That it's it's a really bad miss.
Yeah.
So there's no shame in losing to a team like Norwich, even if they've had a bad result the week before, because they are a good team. David Wagner, I know he's had a bit of an up and down career, but he is capable of. He did it with Huddersfield. He's capable of getting teams out of the Championship. But yeah, it's been the last we're down to 12th now. The last I think it's 5 league games without a win now. It's definitely a downward trajectory. But not only we lost to Preston, but we played well. Lost to Watford, but it sounded like we were a bit unlucky. And if we hadn't had a player sent off, we're probably getting a draw. But these last couple of games, QPR performance wasn't great. Norwich performance was bad. Like, it was disappointing. And I do feel like it's as well, though. I feel like it's individual performances letting us down, in my opinion. Public opinion on Eustace has really switched, I think. There's a lot of questions about him now, which I'm not on board with personally yet. I think he's done enough to deserve time to work this out. And there's been such a good feel-good fact. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I wonder if it's obviously there was the links with the Rangers job, which has now become available. I wouldn't, maybe there's something in it.
Maybe, but I honestly think if the Rangers job had come up a few weeks ago, I'd be kind of nervous about them taking him. But now I just don't think they would now. I think our form's dipped so much. But there's such a feel-good factor at the start of the season. I think Eustace deserves a bit more time to try and work this out. We got a big double game week again coming up this week. But I mentioned individual performances. It's players that, like, Sunjic has started the season really well, and I said he didn't play against QPR, and I thought we really noticed his absence. But he had a really poor game against Norwich. His passing was really poor. I was praising Cody Dramer for how much his performance improved against QPR, but he had a really weak game. Genuinely looked like a bit of a liability on the ball at times. Some really sloppy passes. He's got a really bad habit of making bad passes or questionable runs right near his own box. So, like, it gets intercepted or the pass goes astray. But dangerous play, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit dramatic, but you know what I mean. Hogan, like, we're 7 or 8 games in now in the league. And he's got 1 league goal. It's not good enough. I thought Burke was better. I thought he was better. Not like exactly amazing still.
But he's not a
So yeah,
clinical finisher either. So
no. And it's like you're allowed 5 subs, and it's really noticeable now. Like Keshi Anderson's injured, Buchanan's injured, Laird's injured, Roberts is injured, and they're all like, I'm not sure about Roberts, but the others all sounds like they're going to be out for like 5 to 6 weeks, and they're like huge losses. And I think that means that our starting 11's not quite as strong, and then it also means the players that we're bringing off the bench are like another step down, in my
yeah.
opinion. Like we're bringing like I've got nothing against the guy, but we're bringing like Gary Gardner on with like we're 2-0 down. We need like what I mean. So yeah, bad day at the office. A fun day out nonetheless. Whatever. It's an away day. Good to get back on the away days. But yeah, not a performance to remember, and I hope we don't have another one that bad for quite a while on the pitch.
And Norwich is blacklisted now.
Norwich is blacklisted. No, hey, if it's a player, if it's playoff semi final or
Yeah.
cup semi final, we're going. So yeah, that was all compounded by obviously seeing your result just beforehand in the midday kickoff. You had a slightly better home game at the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's one of them though, Dan, where it's almost like bittersweet because I almost went and didn't.
Yeah. So for anyone who didn't see it, you won.
We absolutely annihilated Brighton 6-1 at Villa Park. So probably a big shock. I don't think anyone was expecting that.
No, I did not. I like Brighton are really good.
Yeah. They are, but they were incredibly naive against us. They played a midfield two of Billy Gilmore and I've forgotten his name, Hinchelwood, who's a young teenager making his debut. And they just couldn't live with Douglas Luiz and Boubacar Kamara, unsurprisingly, I guess. But no, it's weird. We seem to be Brighton's bogey team. Since we got promoted, we've only lost to them once, and we've drawn a couple of times. But yeah, the only time they beat us was in the lockdown season. But Gerrard did the double over Brighton. Emery's done the double over Brighton. Dean Smith got a win or two against Brighton. So, yeah, we're a bogey team for another team. It's quite wild, really. It's not normally that way.
Not a bad team to have under the cosh as well.
Yeah.
But like, what happened? Like, why was it so comfortable?
It was probably our best performance under Unai Emery. And that's saying something because I thought the Newcastle game last year was sensational. But we were clinical. Ollie Watkins, like he can be a bit streaky in his form. He can go through a bit of a barren patch, but he can then go through a really hot scoring streak. And so he got his first goal of the season in the Premier League against Chelsea last week. He had been returning goal contributions in the other games, which is really important to note because people forget that. And he works so hard off the ball, but yeah, he got that goal and he was just, I don't know whether it's because he knew the England squad is out on Thursday, but
Yeah,
he was
true.
just incredible. He was unplayable, especially in that first half. Brighton's defense, they just could not live with him. His runs in behind. He was just absolutely unplayable. He was probably his best performance in a Villa show. He was absolutely sensational. He's now scored 50 goals in all competitions for Aston Villa. And I think it's something crazy like it's not quite half, but almost half of them have come since Unai Emery joined the club.
Wow, that is wild. He's been there just over a year. Am I right in saying? Less than a year?
Less than a year, yeah.
Wow, gosh, that's crazy.
So it's incredible, really. But yeah, he's also the first player to score 2 hat-tricks in the same season since Andy Gray.
Oh, the Hibs doesn't count.
What?
Hibs in the
In the Conference League playoff.
we could throw a team together and I'd score a hat trick against Hibs. It doesn't count. I'm sorry. But let's say it did. Let's say it did. He's the first. What is it?
The first player since Andy Gray to score 2 hat-tricks in the same season. And he's now he scored the joint most hat-tricks for an Aston Villa player
2
across all seasons with 2.
Nice, nice. Okay,
But it's a great stat nonetheless. I think
it is. Yeah, it is.
Benteke, I think, is joint top. I think it's just them two at the top. There might be another one that I've missed. But yeah, Douglas Luiz got on the score sheet again. He's now scored in 5 successive home games. He's the first player to do that since Gareth Barry. And that which isn't bad for a guy we bought as a number 6, a defensive midfielder.
No, and it's been rumored to have, left a couple of times by the sound of things as well.
Yeah, well, I remember when he first came to us. He was part of that recruitment when we bought 11 players in the summer of 2019. And I remember that first season, I was like, what is this guy's position? Because he wasn't disciplined enough to be a 6, but he wasn't a box-to-box midfielder. It's like, what is this guy? And even under Gerrard 12 months ago, he wasn't in the starting 11. He couldn't fit in Kamara, Ramsey, McGinn, and Luiz, and it was Luiz that tended to be the one that missed out. But yeah, the improvement he's had, and he's one of the best midfielders in the league, and he's probably one of the most underrated players in the league as well. He's so critical to our system. Like when he doesn't play, I don't think he might not have played. He didn't play against Everton or Warsaw. He didn't play in one of them, and you can just tell we just get sort of overrun. And
he's your Rodri.
He's our Rodri, yeah.
Your Kiftembeld.
Yeah. 2 players of such similar abilities.
Similar capabilities. Only one of them has slide tackled Jack Grealish in the first minute of a game and had the crowd erupt. So,
good days.
Not so good. Not so good.
Speaking of local lads in a Villa shirt, Jacob Ramsey, who missed the game in midweek with injury and was a real doubt for this game, played a good half an hour or so. He might even played a little bit more. He was brilliant when he came on, and he scored an unbelievable goal. I thought the guy just had ice in his veins the way he just curled that into the far corner. He's going to be some player. He's already a great player, and he's not maybe he's a different type of player to a Jude Bellingham, but the two of them could easily dominate England's midfield for the next few years. Like they are both top players.
Fair enough.
So if we got relegated tomorrow, Jacob Ramsey would be snapped up by a Champions League club. I have absolutely no doubt about it.
Interesting.
So yeah, John McGinn, for a guy who 12 months ago was sinking in a Villa shirt and the captain's armband was dragging him down, he was unbelievable again. I mean, Unai Emery doesn't really select people out in his interviews who've had great performances, and he pulled John McGinn out. And
what was he at left back?
No, he was back in his in his much better position of we play like a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-2-2. So he plays in that sort of right attacking mid slot. So he's like an inverted winger / attacking midfielder. He doesn't really play on the wing. But yeah, we were great. Brighton weren't brilliant. There were some bad performances across the board for them. I mean, they made 3 changes at half time. Evan Ferguson didn't have a kick. Purvis Estupiñán had an absolute shocker. He was awful in that first half. I mean, and then the own goal just sort of topped it off for him. It lost me points in fantasy, but who cares? We won the game.
Lost me points in Super 6. Here we are.
Yeah.
Bad weekend all round. Fair enough. Sorry.
Yeah. Really good performance. We briefly went 3rd in the league. I think we've dropped to about 5th now. And we've won 10 Premier League games in a row at Villa Park. So that place is becoming a fortress. It's what we need. It's what we need Villa Park to be for us is what Anfield is to Liverpool, or like the Etihad is to Manchester City, where you just go there as an away team and go, let's just get it out of the way.
Yeah, no one wants to go there.
No, but something I'd written down to say about Everton, and then I think it's more apt to say now, is Dean Smith once said in one of our interviews where don't get too high in the highs and too low in the lows. So, and I think
Bill Shakespeare, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think it's a really important one, especially for the week we had where we had a really disappointing defeat in the League Cup, and then we've come into the Premier League and had an incredible win. It's about enjoying it, and you can be frustrated when we, get knocked out of the League Cup, but we don't have to go over the top with it.
Fair enough. Words to live by.
Hmm.
Cool. Where do you want to go next? Did you have anything else to cover other than the
Oh
Blackpool
yeah,
games, or-
I have some more housekeeping. I don't know if you've got
Oh,
any club-related
Burns house.
housekeeping.
Burns housekeeping. We're gonna get some stings done soon. It's gonna be Burns
Yeah.
housekeeping. It's gonna be
We mentioned last week about the Castor shirts and being absolutely dreadful, especially the home shirt. There was a lot of worries, obviously, because the WSL season started yesterday at the time of recording. But they seem to be finding they're trying to find a quick fix and then a long-term solution for the rest of the season. It turns out the away kit is just as bad as the home kit, but it's barely been worn. And it's white, so you don't really see it in the same way that the claret completely changes color. And we haven't worn the third kit at all, so we don't know about that one yet. But the big news about it is that there's a lot of rumors now that the Castor deal is going to be terminated early. We had signed a multi-year agreement, which is probably about 4 or 5 years, under the old CEO, Christian Perslow. So that deal is probably going to get terminated. We've seen Newcastle have ditched them for Adidas. We will probably be.
Liverpool had them for a few years, and they'll use Nike, don't they?
No, they had New Balance, who I wouldn't be
Oh, is that who I'm
opposed to
thinking of?
having. I'd be very happy with New Balance. The one brand I do not want is Nike.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the quality of their stuff is great and their logo is cool, but you see it with even the tops, the big 6 Premier League clubs. They all get a lot of them get templates in one way, shape, or form, and we're not going to be. I'd rather have a little bit like a Castor or a Kappa, or even like an Under Armour. Like they're not one of those big massive brands. They're big brands, but they're not massive brands where you're going to get unique shirts across the whole range. And that's why I think Adidas are the leaders in the kits at the moment. So I wouldn't be angry if we got
100%.
Adidas, because I think they'd make us something absolutely incredible. But a New Balance would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, we've had Nike. We're in our 3rd or 4th year with Nike, and I do like some of the kits. I bought some of them. Yeah, I think we're in our 4th season with them now. I have bought some of them. They're okay. We've also had some really not good ones, and it is a huge step down on the Adidas kits. Like our Adidas kits were fantastic. I think we have Nike. Nike is officially who makes the kits. It's a Nike logo on the kit, but I think they outsource it to. I think they're called Just Sports or something. Is that what they're called? And they're the ones that make the kits. So it is just templates. It's Nike is the name. It's not. There's nothing really fancy about it.
Well, it's the same with us. So since 2018, we've had 3 different kit makers who design the kits, and then it's Fanatics that make the kits.
Right.
But they are making the kits from a specification that is sent to them by the kit designing company. So in this case, Castor. Right. But yeah, I just don't want. Not that it's. I just don't want Nike templates. Look, our Nike kits in that sort of Martin O'Neill era were amazing. They're great kits. But even now, when I look at them, I pull them out. They are the same shirt, just with different colors. It's the same template, but they're so nice. They're such nice shirts, you don't really notice it. But they've made some real stinkers in the last couple of years as well for some of the bigger clubs. Like some of the Tottenham shirts have been dreadful.
Oh yeah. Would you have X-Tep?
Not sure.
Go on.
I'm happy to have a unique smaller brand.
Yeah.
And have a unique goalie shirt, a unique home shirt, a unique away shirt, and a unique third shirt. That's what I want.
I suppose when you had Luke, that was very you were the only club who had them. Went well.
Yeah, but this will always be a thing where, because those kits were so nice, and obviously we got promoted in those kits. People are always like, bring back the loot kits. The reason they didn't have a multi-year deal, or they didn't extend the deal past a year, was because they couldn't cope with the demand
Right.
of the shirts of the training wear.
The billions of Villa fans around the world that wanted a
Well,
loot kit.
but it's one of them though.
Kids in like Zimbabwe were crying because they couldn't get a Villa kit.
But they were just kits where maybe we hadn't sold that many kits for a couple of years, and they designed 3 really nice kits.
Really good.
We had a great season. Everyone wants the kits. Those shirts are so rare and they're so expensive. So it's, especially now that we're a Premier League club and you're looking to distribute globally as well, they're arguably just not they're too small of a brand to be able to do that.
True.
Probably. I mean, that's my assumption anyway. So we'll see. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was the badge situation. So we are currently playing. We're currently branded with 2 badges at the moment. So
yeah, it's very weird. As someone who doesn't support Villa, it's very confusing. I don't really understand.
It's confusing for us. So the long and short of it is, when we had the CEO change in the summer, there's a few things that have happened where the old regime wanted to go in one direction, and the new regime are looking at it and going, either trying to stop it, change it, or go in a completely different direction. And we're seeing that with things like the terrace view, and they've changed the Holt suite to another hospitality thing, and that's annoying people. And we're also seeing it with the badge. So we had the badge surveys and consultations last year, and the club sort of steered everyone in a direction of the round badge. They surprised everyone. They swapped the lion facing the other way, and this was Christian Perslow's brainchild almost, of having the round badge back. Chris Heck has come in, and he doesn't think that badge is good enough for Aston Villa to appeal as a global brand. At the end of the day, whether you agree with that or not, that is his job. That is why he is there at the club, to make us a global brand. And I think I explained it in our group chat the other day when they started putting feelers out about they're going to change the badge again. I know that we historically had a round badge. I know as a Villa fan, we had a round badge when we won the European Cup, and what a round badge means to Aston Villa. To people who live the other side of the world that just watch Premier League football week in, week out, they will look at our badge and say it looks like Chelsea's badge. Even though we've had that design before Chelsea, these people grow up on the Big Six and Chelsea's round badge. They don't grow up on the history of Aston Villa. They will see that badge and go, oh, it looks like Chelsea's badge. I understand that. It's weird and it's dumb, but that's the truth of it in a way. And so they had the survey go out today. I filled mine in. If you have a fan ID, you should be getting it, or at least if you're a member or a season ticket holder, you'll get the email. It looks like they're trying to push that they want to try and keep the shield, so the more up-to-date version of this shield badge, which we've had since 2016. So we'll see where that goes. For me, I think if we're going to check, there's nothing wrong with the current badge, with the current shield badge. Of all of our badges, it's probably one of my favorites. If we were going to change it, I feel like if the club wants to go in this modern progressive direction, the way to do it is to drop the shield and just have the lion, the star, and then some sort of AVFC or Aston Villa Football Club, in the way that Liverpool just have the liver bird. Arsenal sometimes just have the
do it,
yeah. And even Man United this year have done it as well, where on their third kit they've just got the devil and the pitchfork or whatever it is. Yeah. I think Huddersfield did it back in the
day
it's not
a spear,
well.
Is it? It's a pitchfork. It's not a spear.
But even Huddersfield back in the day had just the terrier in their last Premier League season. So I feel like if the club want to go in a modern progressive direction, the circle badges are like, they're the old modern, and the way it's going is to a simplified version of badges.
Yeah, I find the circle badges as well. Like, it's like a template you could make on FIFA, pretty much. Like everyone, or like on Football Manager or something. Like they all I look at a club like Man City who had a really kind of uniquely shaped badge when we were growing up, and they've replaced it with just this like generic circle design. And so many other clubs have done that. Like if you look at like all the badges in like the Premier League or in the Championship,
The
so many of
92,
them are
yeah.
just yeah, they're just the exact same shape basically. And I saw a thing on 442 ages ago, and they were ranking the greatest badges in like in the world basically. And I'm not just saying this, but Blues scored really highly. We were on
It's
there,
unique.
and
It's such a unique
exactly
badge.
they said the Blues badge is one of the very few you can identify if it was a silhouette,
Yeah.
which is a really good point. Problem with these circle badges and just these generic format ones is it's the exact opposite. So I think that's something to be. If you did go to this, what you're talking about, where it's like almost like there's no background to it, and it's just like the iconography of it, like what Liverpool and Arsenal and them have done. That you can kind of get a similar thing there. It makes it very unique to you. So that could be a positive move in that sense.
And don't get me wrong, like when we did the consultation and we voted for this round badge, I think on its own, the badge is all right.
Yeah.
It's grand. The problem is when you put it on the
You've
home
got,
kit.
you've got a coaster of it. It's that good.
Yeah, but I don't have the current home shirt, so I can't really show you. But the one
No,
thing
don't
that
worry.
strikes me is you stick that on the claret home shirt. What happens? You
So it just becomes
completely lose.
yeah.
You completely lose the badge in the home shirt because of all the claret around the circle. As whereas on this, this doesn't help that I'm wearing a green shirt today, but obviously it doesn't like fade into the shirt because the shield is blue and the shirt is
Yeah.
claret. So that's the main thing I've noticed that's the biggest problem I have with the round badge is that on the home shirt it just completely disappears into the shirt and you can't see the badge. So we kind of had the vibes when the home shirt got released that badge would not last more than a season, and they basically said if we're either going to change it slightly differently, they're going to they want to keep the shield or they'll ditch the shield completely.
Fair
So,
enough. At least it's got further than when Leeds tried to change their badge a few
yeah.
years ago.
Oh
Literally
my
the
god.
worst badge I've ever seen in my life. I thought it was a wind
Yeah.
up. Like
Yeah.
they didn't even get a game. They like had to change
No.
it.
No. At least they didn't rebrand the stadium. So they reckoned that if Villa had rebranded to the round badge across everything, so
Ah, right.
it would have cost £12 million, which is why if you see your new CEO isn't sure, that's why you stop it dead. And if the kits weren't made so far in advance, there is no way it would have been on the kits this year.
Interesting. So at least they'll hopefully fix it for you.
Yeah, we'll see. Something to keep an eye on.
I suppose
Shall
£12 million as well is like half a
we-
player to you. That's like half a backup player to you, isn't it? It'd be our record
it's
signing. But...
it's an entire Ross McCormack.
It is. And but changing the badge would be money better spent than buying Ross McCormack.
Do you want a badge or do you want a Ross McCormack?
I'll take a badge any day. I'll take Ross McCormack from 2011, not like no. Cool. Shall we look ahead to the games coming
Yeah.
up this week? It's an
Yes.
international break again.
We're playing on Thursday, so we've got Conference League against. God, here we go. Zrinski Mostar. I think it's Mostar. We're just going to call them Mostar. Run with it. Yeah, huge game. We talked about it briefly last week, so I won't basically repeat what we've already said. Must win after the defeat in Warsaw. So there's quite a lot of tickets still available. So if you are thumbing and ahhing about whether to go, there are loads of tickets for this one. So please come down to Villa Park because we need to win. We need a really good atmosphere because I would imagine the Bosnian fans that travel over are going to be making some racket in Villa Park. So I hope we go really strong. If we can play the same 11, maybe with Jacob Ramsey in for Zaniolo, then great. Yeah, it's must win. There's not much more to say other than that.
Interesting. So we're back in league action on Tuesday night. So hopefully this podcast will be up by then, so I won't spend too much time on it, just in case it's not. But yeah, we're playing Huddersfield Town at home. I don't feel like in the league you can have a must-win game in October,
You
early
say that though,
October.
but like Everton played Luton at the weekend, and that arguably
Yeah,
was must
true,
win. So
true. But I definitely think we could use it. Just it'd be really nice to go into the international break with some like positive. Let's have a good couple of games and get back on it. Because I think if we don't get a win out of these two, we won't have had a win in this between the two international breaks, which would be such a disappointment, seeing as we won like 3 or 4 before it. Um, so yeah, Darren Moore's gone there now. Manager I do like. Obviously Warnock's left, and I think they've drawn 2 games. I think they've drawn both their games since he went in there.
yeah,
I think they drew Coventry, and I think it was a last-minute equaliser that they got.
yeah.
Um, and then they drew. I think it was Ipswich they drew as well, who obviously are flying at the minute. So that's a really positive result. So there'll be no pushovers whatsoever, and obviously we're still missing a load of players: Anderson, Buchanan, Laird, Roberts. Um, so that's frustrating. I would not be against seeing Emmanuel Iwu go in, maybe instead of Dramer. And I think Miyashi's got to play. I personally would play Stansfield as the 9. I think he's deserved that chance. I think he's looked really sharp, and I think he should be like the out and out striker, in my opinion. Just to let Hogan clear his head a bit. I think he maybe needs it. So I think I do genuinely think it'll be a tough game. I think they'll be really they're going like that, and at the minute we're going like that.
Yeah.
For those listening, that was me doing a very dramatic like upwards motion for Huddersfield and down for Blues. So yeah, be a tough game, but on paper we're better. So I wouldn't be surprised if we nicked a 1-goal win. I think we do have better players and a better prime for it. But yeah, that's Huddersfield tomorrow.
And then the big one on Friday night, Sky
Yeah,
Sports.
yeah, we're back in live action on Friday night. Following the QPR game a couple of weeks ago, we're playing West Brom at home, so they're obviously our biggest derby at the minute. Baggies is a big role. It is a big, it's obviously not got like the hatred that Blues and Villa have got, but it does have like a bit of, we know loads of Baggies
Yeah.
fans. We've got family that are Baggies fans. It is a big deal.
I'd say the
And obviously,
rivalry between Blues and West Brom is probably on par with Villa and West Brom.
oh
The two
yeah,
are just it is they're second best, but
yeah,
we
they
still
are
don't like
absolutely.
them.
Know your
Yeah.
place, West Brom. But yeah, no, it should be good. So it's probably our biggest game. It genuinely is probably our biggest
Yeah.
game of the season. We went years without beating West Brom. I think it was about 15 years without beating them. But then we've won the last 3 times we've played them now. Both our games against them last season were fantastic. Like we won the away one 3-2. Scott Hogan scored one of my, as much as I've criticised him, Hogan scored one of my favourite Blues goals ever in that game. And then we beat them again on the Friday night game last season 2-0. And Hannibal had like one of the best individual performances I've seen from a Blues player. He was outstanding.
Yeah, I remember watching that game actually. Michael Brighton played for West Brom.
Yeah,
on
he
the
did.
wing.
Yeah. So no, I just hope the Friday night games have been QPR, despite the performance, was a really good atmosphere. I talked about how the club put a lot of effort into like just the match day experience and stuff. So looking forward to all of that. And I just hope the performance lives up to it this time. West Brom are on an upward trajectory as well themselves, though. Had a really good result against Preston, who have been on fire lately. I think we're getting 4-0 at the weekend. 4-0, 4-1, something like that. So it's going to be really tough, but yeah, really excited for it as well, though. They're the games you are a football fan for. So if we can get 4 points from West Brom and Huddersfield, I feel like I've said this a lot on this podcast, but if we get 4 points from them 2 games, that would be much better. We got to win at least one of them. Yeah.
Stop the rot.
Stop the rot. Who are you playing this weekend?
We've got the other Midlands team, probably at the closest we have to a derby in Wolverhampton Wanderers on Sunday.
Oh, it's a Midlands Grand Slam. I didn't realise West Midlands Grand Slam.
It's the not so great version of the Midlands rivalries this week, where it's like it's not quite Villa Blues and it's not quite West Brom Wolves, but so we're going to Molineux on Sunday in the 2:00 slot, the one that isn't on telly, obviously. So yeah, we're on a good run. So it depends how midweek goes, really. I mean, if we win in midweek, that'll be back-to-back wins for the first time in quite a long time. So I mean, if we can, Wolves are off the back of a great result against Man City at home at the weekend, and this is the game they're always up for. They are always up for it against us. We haven't won at Molineux in years. I genuinely cannot remember the last time we won there. It could have been the year Robbie Keane scored twice.
Yeah, possibly.
Heskey
scored that 1 year, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
I watched it. I was like, what?
So, I mean, if we came out of Molineux with a point, I'd probably take it because I just don't see it. We just never win there. But there we bang up for it. That they've found a little bit of form, and so we'll see. It'll be really, really tough game. Really, really tough game. And they might try and counter us in the way that they counter-attacked Manchester City at the weekend. So the high line will be tested, and hopefully VAR remember to draw the lines, and hopefully we'll get over the line with 3 points.
You have a prediction?
I think it'll be tight. If we win there, we'll win maybe like 1-0, probably. And I think we'll beat Mostar 3-0. I'm going to be positive.
Fair enough. I think we'll beat Huddersfield 1-0. And I think we'll draw West Brom 2-2. I think it'll be a good game. No, we're not scoring 2 goals. 1-1. 1-1.
It's normally a good game. The Blues West Brom.
Yeah, the last couple have been fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. West Midlands Grand Slam this weekend. I didn't even realise. This should be exciting. Cool. Should we call it a night?
Yes, I think we should. I think this is going to be another long one. So
yeah,
it's these double game weeks. They just take up so much time.
No end in sight. Yeah, to the double game weeks. Fantastic. If you have enjoyed today's podcast, please do subscribe on whichever podcasting platform you are listening on. And of course, feel free to check out the Alex McLeish special that Callum mentioned earlier that we did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and go back and check any of the others, especially the YouTube videos, and see what shirts we've been wearing every week. Because as we say at the start, we wear a different one every week. And leave us a 5-star review while we're at it on the audio platform of your choice. And
you can also follow us on Twitter /X, TikTok, and YouTube.
And you can find us with the handle @SecondCityPod.
That's @SecondCityPod, so 2ND City Pod.
Yeah. I think that about covers all bases this week, Dan.
Absolutely. Enjoy. You're going to the Villa game on Thursday, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I'll see you for a pint beforehand.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, I'll sneak by after work and meet you for a brew. And yeah, fantastic. Enjoy the game. I'll try and enjoy our games this week as well.
Yeah. So we'll see you same time next week, hopefully, and up the Villa.
Up the Blues, SOPV. Nice one. See you next time, Carl.